and welcome to Round Robin. I'm your host, Robin McCormick with the City of Hampton. And today we're going to take a look back at an event that was held a few weeks ago because it was such a success and has a great story to tell. This was the mega reunion at Bethel High School. My guests are Michael Harper and Shelton Tucker. Welcome.
Well, thank you for having us back.
Now, you guys were here promoting this event and trying to reach graduates of Bethel. What were your years again?
1970 to 1992.
Which is big and different than your typical high school reunion. I mean, that's really a generation there, or people really of two generations from the beginning to the end. And the only thing they had in common is Hampton and Bethel High School. That was a challenge. What made you do it?
Initially, I thought about it as I was attending his brother's funeral. And it made me think back to how the only time we got to reconnect and reminisce with each other was at funerals. And I got tired of that being our form of social media. So I coupled with some other people and started to try to put together a reunion for just 2 or 3 classes. But then I realized that as a result of all the funerals I had attended, there wasn't enough people to have a reunion for just 75 and 76. Oh. So I got with this guy right here. I call him Numbers because he's our numbers guy. And we started to sit down and formulate a plan to put together a reunion, you know, and we decided to do a large one. So
go big or go home,
Go
right?
big or go home. My daddy said, you're going to be a bear, be a grizzly. So that's what we decided to do. We decided to be a grizzly bear, a Bruin bear. So we put together a large mega reunion.
So that's enough of a hurdle, right? It's the first time it's ever been done. You don't know how many people are going to come. You're making reservations. You're making financial commitments. And then you had another little hurdle, which was the threat of Hurricane Joaquin, which didn't hit, but we had a persistent storm and a nor'easter and a declared state of emergency and flooding in parts of the city. Yeah. You guys went on, right?
Yeah, we invited him, but Joaquin didn't want to come. So.
That's a good thing.
So.
Yeah, we had to make several adjustments to our plan. We had to cancel all of the outdoor activities.
Yeah, I bet. It rained for days.
Yes, it rained for days, and although we were getting feedback about Plan B, but it was a state of emergency that was not only called by the state, it was called by the city at the time. So we couldn't endanger anyone by looking another place for the outdoor venture. But we did have the convention center.
Well, you had people coming in from out of town. I mean,
around the world.
Around the world.
Holy
Australia.
cow,
Australia.
really?
All the way from
Dubai and Micronesia.
Right.
All over the world. People came from all over the world to attend this function, and they came in spite of Joaquin.
So how many people did you have?
We had over 1,000 people attend the function.
That was amazing.
And we would have had more. Both nights,
I bet.
Both nights.
Yes.
So you had 2 nights.
Yeah.
And what did y'all do?
On Friday night, we had what we call a meet and greet. Excuse me. Initially, it was only supposed to be a little get-together of people who were coming in town, but because of the cancellation of our Sunday event, we had to enhance it a little bit. We had to add more to our decorations, and as a result, wound up spending a little bit more money, but it was a meet and greet little party type thing. Yeah. We got together and we talked and reminisced, and and then Saturday night.
Yes, back to Friday, we actually had a tailgate going on in a game, but as you know, the game was canceled. It was homecoming.
Right.
Yes.
Oh, so this was tied in with Bethel's homecoming.
Yeah.
Yes, tied in with we were playing Hampton.
Oh, how much fun that would have been.
Yes, exactly.
It would, but ultimately it wasn't fun because we did go to the game that Wednesday in Hampton.
That Wednesday, but we actually had we had to readjust our plan to cancel all the outdoor tailgating and then purchase additional food for the meet and greet, since most of the people were going to show up there at that time. So as you know, food purchases at the convention center is quite pricey.
It's exorbitant.
Yeah, so we had to make those kinds of adjustments, but we did it, and we thank the convention center for working with us on that particular thing.
And then Saturday was your big bash.
Was the big banquet, yes.
Banquet, program, and dance.
And dance. And
I know the mayor called me during it. I couldn't hear a word he said. I'm like, you guys are having a darn good time out there, aren't you?
We were having a good time, but the thing was that I was rather surprised that the lack of coverage that we got, you know, other than appearing on your show. And we want to give the mayor major props because the mayor supported us the whole time through this. But I was surprised at the lack of coverage that we did not have. You know, this being a large event, and in spite of what people thought, it wasn't just a big old party.
Well, now that's what we didn't talk about in advance. So I'm going to have you guys talk about that a little bit. Bethel was the first of the city's high school that was built as an integrated high school.
Right, exactly.
That is, you know, that's a tough time for you guys to have all gone through that process. Tell me, you know, if that came up, if people talked about it, and how it really affected your lives and this group of people.
Well, we talked about it. We didn't dwell on it. You know, in spite of that, in spite of the desegregation of schools in this area, we rose above that. We accomplished a lot of great things together. Whites, black, Hispanic, whatever. That didn't matter. The only colors we saw was green and gold. That was important to us, and that's what I wanted to commemorate. You know, what we went through. We went through it. It's over, and we went on to accomplish a lot of great things. Championships. We set records. You know, we did some great things, and I just thought that, you know, the city or the media coverage would have been greater than it was.
Well, for one thing, they were all covering the storms. I mean, if media had planned to cover it, they were all pulled away.
Right.
Because when there's a storm, that's where TV is, and it's a very immediate thing. But
we had
it's a hard.
Yeah, we had a souvenir booklet,
Yeah.
and that explained some of our history and story. And one of the stories was the beginning of the school and the first homecoming queen, and the social issues that were surrounding that controversial decision to have two at that particular time.
Really?
Yeah. So when I interviewed some of the people during the early 1970s, they said Bethel was not really an experiment. It was something destined to come about.
Yeah.
The integration of these schools, as well as some of the neighborhoods were integrating. So consequently, they learned how to work and resolve issues together, and then instead of issues being divided from black and white, everybody rallied under the green and gold.
And came up with one
Well, so
solution.
tell us the homecoming queen story. For those of us who don't know it, how did that come about?
Well, they voted on a homecoming queen, and
The student body,
the
there was
student body
a certain
voted.
number of nominations, or it was just a complete write-in? I don't know how all this works.
well, I don't know the particulars of it.
Well, I could tell you what was told
Okay.
me. There was one, Gail Hobson was the name of
The black
queen,
student.
and she was African American, and she felt that she had won the popular vote at that particular time. And but what ultimately happened, they named another young lady who was white, and so they ended up with two queens for homecoming. And she always felt that that was a planned event for the social issues at that particular time. But the football team had at one point threatened to boycott, but they ended up resolving the issue by having the two queens.
You know, it's hard to think about going back to that place in time and how difficult and contentious it was, but yet also how doing things as an integrated body was, you know, it's such a big step forward.
Yeah, because ultimately Bethel ended up with singular queens that were black and white and so forth.
But that first year,
year.
you're looking at everything and being scrutinized for everything. And in each group is sort of wondering, is it fair? Are we in this together? Who's going to win kind of a
And
thing?
what we wanted to commemorate was the fact that we rose above that.
Oh, well, you figured out how to do it.
That's right.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's not
that's right.
rising above, it's working
we worked
through
together.
and creating
And-
what we have today.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what was beautiful about our event, it was very diverse.
Yeah.
Very diverse. Everyone came back, and it was just so. That's why the mayor called, because he was like,
He
"Wow,
was- he was
everybody."
stunned.
Well,
came
his
back.
sons went there, right?
Right, right.
I don't know if they were in
And his
the
wife
official
taught there.
grouping. Yeah, and his wife
Yeah, they
taught
were-
there.
they were
so
within the grouping,
He
yes.
didn't, of course, but he feels quite the connection
Yes.
to Bethel.
Well, you know, like I said, I'd like to thank the mayor once again, because the mayor gave us much support and advice during this whole time. He challenged us to make this event something was very nice that the city could be proud of, and we did that. You know, that's why I once again say I'm just so surprised that, you know, nobody but you reached out to us and said, hey guys, you know, you guys did a good thing. You know, we also want to thank our sponsors like Ty Singer and
There was Cook Brothers.
Cook Brothers and
there was also
Tuskegee
Tuskegee Air Contracting. And there was also Bazaar.
Bodacious Bazaar.
Oh, they're wonderful. I love
Yeah,
that.
she's a Bethel grad.
Is she?
Yeah, she's the best.
Yes.
1973. Yeah.
Yes.
She sure is. And
Our sponsors, and what made this thing work, financially speaking, was the support from our sponsors.
Yeah.
In addition to the ticket sales, of course. But our sponsors did a wonderful job, and we have a huge business network of Bethel alumni here in this city.
Now you mentioned something about replicating this, and that's what we want to do. We tried to set up a model whereby other high schools in the area could replicate this what we did, this event. Shelton is working on a report right now that we're going to give to the mayor to provide to the mayor that shows the impact that our reunion had on the city, financially, culturally, and everything. So,
Yeah, we actually had the financial numbers to show what kind of money that we pumped into this economy that weekend. Matter of fact, there was a cancellation of the crab crawl, and had it not been for our event,
and not to mention Bay Days too.
yeah, and so had it not been for our event, that hotel would have not been booked out. But we
Oh gosh, I bet it
contributed.
was hard with you guys. I bet it was hard for people booking rooms with the Crawl and Crab going on
Yeah,
the same
yes,
weekend.
it was.
And then of course
So
things freed up
we had to
late in the
utilize
game.
two hotels. We used Spring Hill Suites and Embassy Suites.
Right.
So we were able to put together a nice little event. You know.
Yeah, we did a tremendous job with calling people and getting them there, and they actually stayed. They drank, they partied.
It's a good thing, you know, they
And they-
didn't have far to go back to a
Didn't have
hotel
they
and all that
shopped.
kind of thing.
And
Yeah.
they reconnected. That was the major thing. We wanted this community to see that not only did the Bethel High School students want to come back and party, but we wanted people to see that we were able to reconnect and we were able to come back together and discuss and just reminisce and have a good time with each other and across all borders, you know.
Well, and I would think too, you all know people from your own era.
You're right.
But you had to have met a lot of
Oh.
people who were in, you know, almost a different, across 22-year span who had a different circumstance, you know, who
Yeah.
maybe didn't go through those first integration years, but after the way was paved and some things were worked out, who were like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Man, this is the way it's always been for
Yeah,
me.
we did.
Well,
That's
Robin,
true.
it's interesting, the mix, because what ultimately ended up happening was that families were coming back.
Oh, yeah,
Because,
I
yes,
bet.
my sister is 10 years younger than myself, and she was in that mix. So a lot of family reunions were taking place. And actually, they also, the basketball team for Bethel actually honored their coach during that period. Yeah, so it was when you have a span that year, it's a number of families that know each other and grew up in the same neighborhood. And I want to also say that this was really a community development event.
Oh, definitely.
Because we would like to thank the Historical Foundation for Aberdeen Gardens, because they let us use their administrative offices to carry out some of our work, and also Northampton.
And the historical society.
Right. And we invited the Hampton History Museum to take oral.
Oh, that's great.
Because we took, and you'll see on the vignettes that we did, we interviewed the impact of what Bethel grads had on the city. We got Leonard Sledge. We've got educators.
His kids go there now.
Yeah.
He's all
And
settled down, yeah.
So we got educators.
And I coached Leonard when he was a kid too.
Yeah. So it was really a great community development event. We called the communities, and we actually gave them a sponsorship to vendor as well.
That's wonderful. Okay, well, we're going to have to wrap up, but I want to thank you guys, because I think when you come back and tell the story of the success, and you're willing to mentor and coach other folks who want to do a similar thing
Right.
at a different high school or maybe a different generational age range,
Right.
that they can do it, and that it's a wonderful experience for reconnecting around common bonds.
We got the model.
Okay.
We have the model.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us back.
And thank you for watching. I hope you've seen some scenes of the reunion and understand what a great time these folks had and how wonderful it is to make those connections again. Thanks for watching.